vampires, question mark? How dare a woman get older, which is kind of creepy. So we'll see. That place is weird. Don't go there. We love a creepy, you know, mind-reading little girl. This is one of the best books ever. Threats abound. That's my soapbox for today. Ooh, Gothic house. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Casual. For those who are new here, we are so glad to have you here today. We are back in front of the bookcase, back on the floor, because we have another book haul. So recently, Christmas, right? End of year sales, Christmas money to spend, stuff like that. What you're gonna see today is a mix of like books that I bought myself that were on end of year sales or Christmas gifts. So those types of things. First, we will start with what we got gifted. I have a couple of larger collections to show first. So many things to know. So in our larger collections that we got, I have been really feeling nostalgic here lately. So I just really wanted to go back to like my more middle grade self. So the first thing I got was this box set of the Chronicles of Narnia. Let's go this way. The Chronicles of Narnia. I absolutely loved these books growing up, and unfortunately my copies got damaged at some point while in storage. So these books are much thinner, so I'm kind of afraid of like the font size than my other ones. But I am really glad to have all of them, and if you guys would like a vlog about rereading them, definitely let me know. The next like complete series that I got was the series of Unfortunate Events, all of the paperbacks. I have read all of these. I did when I was in middle school. I just missed them. Yeah, I just missed them. I loved them. If you don't know, this is a series by Lemony Snicket. Their parents die tragically in a fire, and unfortunately they don't have any other, you know, way to support themselves in their current house. So they keep getting passed off to guardians, you know, relatives from far away, who end up mysteriously dying, and Count Olaf seems to be at the base of everything. But it's just so fun and wacky but dark, and that's just kind of where my sweet spot is. The next full series that I actually haven't read is a box set of Harry Potter. I know I missed the boat as a kid. I just never read them, and now I'm excited to. I like how it says year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. So they get really thick though. These suckers are big in here. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I've only ever seen the movies, and I've only ever seen the movies once in my adult life. So I don't really know much about the story to be able to tell you. I know that there's Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and they're students at Hogwarts, the wizarding school. That's all I know. I actually borrowed some books as well from my mother, so I'll go through those. So I saw these on her bookshelf, and I was like, are you getting rid of those? She's like, you can borrow them. So I wanted to get more into Lisa Gardner and other thrillers this year. So we have right behind you, Crash and Burn and Alone by Lisa Gardner. If you've read any of these, definitely let me know. I liked the cover of this one. And then this one, the dust jacket is missing. But the content inside, just as good. Used books for the win. And then I got gifted a couple from my sister. We have a nonfiction called Don't Waste Your Life by John Piper, and Later by Stephen King, which is supposedly like this kid has some kind of, you know, mind control powers, or like can see into the future, or can talk to the dead, something to do with his mind. And I guess Miss McBoobs here, look at that, is a police detective or some kind of investigator. But I thought that the cover was really cool, even though it came out in 2021. It looks like it's from the 70s or something. So that was really interesting. Continuing on in the gift category, from my sister, my mother-in-law, and my mother, I got, you know, a combination of all of these. So I got Holly by Stephen King. I absolutely adore this cover. This follows the story of Holly, who is in several of King's earlier works, Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, End of Watch, If It Bleeds, and something else. And The Outsider. So you kind of see, I have to read those first, but I had to get this. I had to ask for this. It's just so beautiful. Next, I got a book called Bad Fruit by Ella King. I have heard like one person talk about this, and it sounded really interesting. Yeah. Beautiful and shocking, Bad Fruit is as compulsive as it is thought-provoking, as nuanced as it is explosive. A masterful exploration of mothers and daughters, inherited trauma, and the race to break its devastating cycle, Bad Fruit will leave readers breathless and questioning their own preconceived notions of femininity, race, and redemption. Sounds really interesting. It's got a lot of topics to cover in a very short amount of time, but we'll see. Next, I got Murtaugh, is how I'm gonna say it, by Christopher Paolini. I have the entire Aragon inheritance cycle right here. And so that is another, you know, revisit books I read in middle school type thing. So I'm excited to be able to read this as well. I've heard that this is a spin-off. In this book, it says that Murtaugh is the perfect book in which to enter the world of Aragon for the first time or to joyfully return. So you can either read it before or after the series. And then lastly, we have Iron Flame. So I have yet to read Fourth Wing, but I've heard everybody say that Iron Flame is not quite as good as Fourth Wing, or it's just more of the same. So that's gonna keep me in the loop of like, I'm gonna read Fourth Wing first, give it some time, and then go and read Iron Flame, because this is a chunky book. And so maybe then kind of that newness and that expectation of Fourth Wing will kind of have waned by then. We'll see. The next section that we have is Barnes & Noble buys. They recently had an end of year sale along with a hardcover sale that was happening. So I was able to get a couple that I've definitely been looking for at the library but haven't been able to find, and some new finds. First off, by Nat Cassidy, we have both Nestlings and Mary. So Nestlings is about this low-income couple who are able to move into this really fancy apartment due to some lottery system, but then some crazy, you know, creepy shit starts happening. Their baby might be in danger. Vampires, question mark? And then Mary is about a woman going through menopause and struggling with her status as a person. Apparently changes as she gets older, because how dare a woman get older? And it basically, like, as she's going into the like golden years of her life, she also is awakening to like these new killer urges. So I'm excited to see kind of the commentary and also the fun, you know, horror-y elements of this. Next we have Rouge by Mona Awad. I have been wanting this forever. My library doesn't carry any Mona Awads. So I have Bunny back here, which I have not read, but Rouge is about a mother and a daughter. The daughter is getting concerned about the mother because she is getting a little bit too into like skincare, maybe taking it too far, doesn't want to lose her beauty because of age. Sensing a theme. I've heard this compared to, is it Natural? Compared to this. I'm just excited to see kind of how creepy it can get. Next we have Delicate Condition. So Delicate Condition is a horror book about a pregnant actress. If anybody's seen the most recent series or the most recent season of American Horror Story that has Kim Kardashian in it, it's based off this book. So this lady goes through a miscarriage, but then she can feel the baby still kicking and she's still showing all the signs of being pregnant. So she just doesn't know what she's pregnant with, which is kind of creepy. So we'll see what's going on with that. But I also just love this cover. Next we have Edenville by Sam Rebeline. Again, another cover. Also a book that respects your time. It's relatively thin. This book is about an author that published his debut novel, The Shattered Man, to disappointing sales and reviews. He's struggling to, like, you know, keep his middling success and or, you know, career as a author afloat. So he gets a job offer from a college in Edenville, and his wife is like, that place is weird, don't go there. And he's like, nah, it'll be fine. And so they go and weird shit happens. you know, listen to your wife. If she says that it's weird shit, don't go. And then the last one that we got from Barnes & Noble is At the End of Every Day by Ariana Reich. I haven't heard anything about this, actually. I believe that it just came out not too long ago. It's about a creepy amusement park and how it gets kind of twisted. Maybe some rich people playing some weird ass games, that kind of thing. Lastly, we have a used bookstore haul, because I love to be able to give an independent bookstore more of my money than more of like a big, you know, box store that doesn't really need my help. They don't need my patronage to be fine. We'll go from smallest to largest, if that makes sense. First, I have a book called Candles Burning by Tabitha King and Michael McDowell. This is supposedly just a suspense, kind of horror, maybe some paranormal elements. I haven't read anything by these authors. I haven't even heard of them, but we love a creepy, you know, mind-reading little girl. Next, we have The Last Noel by Heather Graham. Heather Graham is a kind of crime procedural, little bit paranormal drama writer who is very prolific. And I'm trying to get, you know, in on her novels. I have the first one in her like biggest series that I have on my Kindle. And I saw this one, I was like, ah, Murder Christmas, sweet. Next, we have No Sunscreen for the Dead by Tim Dorsey. Again, never heard anything about him, but it seems like a funny, like romp through South Florida, maybe some, you know, crazy hijinks from the retired citizens down there. Seems like it'll be fun. Next, we have Room by Emma Donoghue. This is the movie with Brie Larson. I've heard that the book is very good as well. We have The Good Lie by A.R. Torre. Another thriller. They're looking for the truth. They're hiding it too. Psychiatrist Dr. Gwen Moore is an expert on killers. Gwen and Robert grow closer and she dives deeper into the investigation. Grave questions arise. So does Gwen's suspicion that Robert is hiding something and that he might not be the only one with a secret. Relatively short. Seems like it would be a good time. Next we have Gold Diggers by Shanzina Senthian. I'm so sorry if I said that right. Sathian. It's a look at a family from India, or at least they start in India, spanning 2 continents, 2 coasts, and 4 epochs. Gold Diggers expertly balances social satire and magical realism in this classic striver story that skewers the model minority narrative, asking what a community must do to achieve the American dream. Sounds great. Next we have Mr. Clarinet by Nick Stone. This is from like 2007. I haven't read anything by this character. This cover looked very Blair Witch, so I wanted to get it. And it's very like Pied Piper meets murder mystery. Mr. Clarinet is a spirit figure who for decades is said to have been tempting children away from their families. Couple children go missing, have to investigate. Next to last, we have The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan. Rockin. Seems cute. It's a book of the month from like 2020 when I wasn't a member of their service yet. For once, Samaya is putting herself first, and that includes finally developing the app she's always dreamed of creating, which is the exact moment that she meets the deliciously sexy Daniel Collins at work. What are the chances? But is Daniel really boyfriend material, or is he maybe just a little too good to be true? Seems cool. And then lastly, I have Falling, a Love Story by Jane Green. Again, another author I've never heard of, but it sounds really interesting. A novel about the pleasure and meaning of finding a home, a family, where you least expect them. In a novel of changing seasons, shifting lives, and selfless love, a story unfolds of one woman's far-reaching journey to discover who she truly is meant to be. Interesting. Another day, another book haul. This is a combination of used bookstore shopping where everything was like $3 to $4, and then a library sale in which the books were 25 cents a piece. And I think the hardback was maybe $1. None of these books are new as far as I'm aware of, except for maybe one. But even then it was at a discount because it was a used bookstore. We'll go through the library sale first. We have The Girl in the Headlines by Hannah Jane. A lot of these, I think these are all like young adult thrillers, and I'm excited to kind of see what that looks like. It says, they say she did it, she doesn't remember. The headlines say she killed her family. The truth? She doesn't remember. Interesting. Next we have 7 Dirty Secrets by Natalie D. Richards. I read 5 Perfect Strangers from her and I really liked it. So I'm excited to see if this, you know, will kind of live up to that same hype. On her 18th birthday, Cleo receives a mysterious invitation to a scavenger hunt. She's sure her best friend Hope or her brother Connor is behind it, but no one confesses. And as Cleo and Hope embark on the hunt, the seemingly random locations and clues begin to feel familiar. As the clock on the scavenger hunt ticks down, it becomes clear that someone knows what really happened to Declan, and that person will stop at nothing to make sure that Cleo and her friends pay. Can they solve the hunt before someone else winds up dead? Ooh, sounds interesting. Next we have 2 Truths and a Lie by April Henry. I have never heard of this author, but it sounds really cool. It's about a game of 2 truths and a lie that goes a little off the rails. And then next we have a double feature from Natasha Preston with The Cellar and The Cabin. I had a version of The Cellar already, but I didn't have The Cabin, so I just got this book for 25 cents and then I donated my version of The Cellar. So I'm interested to see, you know, how this goes. It's a thick boy because it's 2 books, but it's very floppy, so that's really nice. The spine didn't get messed up. You'll love to see it. So we have Trapped in a Basement in The Cellar, and then Murder at a Cabin. 2 of her friends are murdered. Suspicion turns to the 5 survivors. Bum bum. I just finished reading a book about a suspicion of murder, and so that's really interesting. Wait for my January wrap up for which book that was. Next we have The Awakening by Angela Hunt. This year I do want to get more into Christian fiction because that's important to me, but it can be done well or it can be done poorly. So if you ever want to see it well done, definitely look into Frank Peretti or Ted Dekker or both, as in The House. This is one of the best books ever. So good. I think it became a movie, but the book is so much better. But yeah, Frank Peretti is probably my favorite author of non-romance. It's probably Abby Jimenez and Frank Peretti are my favorite authors of like what their stories actually say. And then Stephen King, I like his like interesting ideas. The Awakening. Aurora Rose Norquist is different than her neighbors, different from most people. Still single at 35, she spends every hour of her days and nights in an elegant Manhattan apartment, quietly caring for her invalid mother. Will she find the courage to confront her unseen pursuer, or will she surrender to the destructive melancholy that haunts her days and nights? What will it take to satisfy the relentless intruder whose voice presses her towards the awakening? Interesting. She has quite a few books. The Debt, The Canopy, The Note, The Pearl, The Justice. I hope this isn't part of a series. And then I accidentally just like jumped in the middle of it. So another relatively Christian fiction, I mean loosely, is Eve by W.M. Paul Young. He wrote The Shack, which is one of the best books ever. And that movie is so worth the watch. I think it's on Netflix. It's so good. The movie does the book a lot of justice. It actually helps it not... It makes it a little bit lighter, but it's just so... It hits so hard that it's definitely worth the watch. But it's another book from him. When a shipping container washes ashore on an island between our world and the next, John the Collector finds a young woman inside, broken, frozen, and barely alive. With the aid of healers and scholars, John oversees her recovery and soon discovers that her genetic code connects her to every known race. No one would guess what her survival will mean. No one but Eve, mother of the living, who calls her daughter and invites her to witness the truth about her story. Indeed, the truth about us all. Eve is a bold, unprecedented exploration of the creation narrative due to the original text and centuries of scholarship, yet with breathtaking discoveries that challenge traditional beliefs about who we are and how we're made. It's supposed to be very inspiring, so I'm excited about that. Next, we have False Witness by Randy Singer. This is more of a legal drama. It has to do with 3 ambitious law students at a local legal aid clinic watch as the routine case representing a man named David Hoffman ignites an incendiary trail of deception and betrayal. They have to do with a coded algorithm capable of crippling the internet and threatening national security. So I'm excited to see where this one goes. Next we have The Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. This is the same author of Luckiest Girl Alive. That movie was odd on Netflix. I haven't read the book though. So I'm hoping that this is a good thriller. When Kelly is cast alongside Brett and her 3 shameless co-stars, Stephanie, Lauren, and Jen, each harbors their own shocking secrets. Still, no one expects that this season will end in murder. Ooh. But I liked the cover as well. We love a good foil butterfly. Next, we have Notes on an Execution by Danya Kukavka. This comes highly recommended. It was on a lot of people's best books of either 2022 or 2023. A gripping and atmospheric work of literary suspense that deconstructs the story of a serial killer on death row, told primarily through the eyes of the women in his life. Through a kaleidoscope of women, a mother, a sister, a homicide detective, we learn the story of Ansel's life. Blending breathtaking suspense with astonishing empathy, Notes on an Execution presents a chilling portrait of womanhood as it simultaneously unravels the familiar narrative of the American serial killer, interrogating our system of justice and our cultural obsession with crime stories, asking readers to consider the false promise of looking for meaning in the psyches of violent men. Also, basically brand new condition for like $4. You can't beat it. Next, we have Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. I've been wanting to get into his books, and my library doesn't have like any of them. They have like 2, and they're the middle of a series, and so I was just like, I don't know. But this is about a girl who goes out and has a one-night stand on her bachelorette party, I think, or like before her wedding, and then that guy gets obsessed with her and is trying to out her, follows her on her honeymoon, and threatens to, I guess, kill her if she won't be with him. I'm not sure, but threats abound. Next, we have 2 that I've definitely heard about that people either love or they hate. A Little Life for $6. You can't beat it. Perfect condition. I know this is really sad, but that's really all I know about it. It is dense. It's so heavy. Oh God, this will take forever. A Little Life follows 4 college classmates, broke adrift and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition as they move to New York in search of fame and fortune. I know it's a lot about like, you know, friendships and sexuality and how life kind of sucks sometimes. But I'm very interested to see. I don't know when I'll read this, but not anytime soon, but I'm very excited to have it on my shelf and in such good condition. Lastly, we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was the only one that was new, and it was still $10, so that's still a good price. Liz Buxbaum has always known that Wes Bennett is not boyfriend material. Oh, we love it. YA, I think it's fake dating? Yeah. Fake dating to make somebody else jealous. Enemies to lovers, potentially. Rethink her own perception of what happily ever should really look like. That seems so heartwarming, and I'm excited about it. But that is it for this haul. You will see me in the next one. All right, I am back on a different day. This is the rest of the book haul. I was waiting for my Book Outlet books to come in. Book Outlet is a company that's based out of Canada, I think, and I'm in the Southeast United States, so quite far. Takes about a week to get here. Every book I bought on this, in this stack, was $5.99 and below. Also got a couple of books, like my husband's going on the carnivore diet, so I got him a carnivore diet book. I got me a keto cookbook because I don't think I can go full carnivore and still have a good quality of life. I know that's such a cop-out, but like, your girl loves her sweets, you know? So if I can just, sweets, breads, stuff like that, so if I can find a better alternative, then that's the goal, you know? We do what we can. When it comes to the books that I got, these are not in any kind of order. They're just how I pulled them out of the box. I went through and took off any stickers or anything like that because I hate having stickers on my books. I always take them off before I put them on the shelf. Otherwise, I feel like they're gonna be harder to take off in the future. And then they also just kind of like mar the cover beauty. It's like these graphic artists work so hard for this cover. We want it to be the best. We want it to be completely pure in its state. Also, the bane of my existence is permanent stickers. Like, I don't care if Reese Witherspoon's book club picked it, or if it's now gonna be a major motion picture. Like, I don't care. That's my soapbox for today. Let's start with Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. This is a magical realism hotel, just lit fic, I believe. All her life, Yanni has dreamed of elsewhere. I'm getting a little bit of historical fiction about it. Beneath its marvelous glamour, the hotel is hiding dangerous secrets. With the vexingly handsome doorman Belle and her as her only ally, Yanni embarks, or Janny? Yanni? I don't know. Embarks on a mission to unravel the mystery of the magic at the heart of the hotel and free Zosa and the other staff from the cruelty of the ruthless maitre d' hotel. To succeed, she'll have to risk everything she loves, but failure would mean a fate far worse than never returning home. So, magical realism, kind of some action. We'll see how it goes. Next, we have Be Not Far From Me. This is a pretty short thriller about a girl that falls into a ravine while she's hiking and gets separated from the people that she's with, and I think she breaks her leg or cuts her leg really bad, gets an infection, and something is like stalking her through the woods. So, will she die of whatever's stalking her? Will she die of the elements? Will she die of the infection? Or will she be rescued and survive? That seems like the least plausible one, but we'll see. Next, we have Let the Right One In. Yes, this is of motion picture fame. I believe the movie had, I want to say, Chloe Grace Moretz as a very small girl. This is a relatively old book. It was in 2004. Is the girl next door a vampire? Question mark. Is kind of the basis. Next, we have The Perfect Family by Robin Harding. I use these sales as I use cheap, used books and the library as a time to introduce myself to new authors. I've never heard of Robin Harding. She apparently has quite a few books, but none of them are at my library. I wanted to see this. I'm guessing a thriller, more suburban. So there's some pranks and vandalism happening to their house. Police dismiss the attacks as merely works of bored teenagers. Unable to identify the perpetrators, the Adlers are helpless as their assaults escalate into violence and worse. Each new violation brings with it a growing fear because everyone in the Adler family is keeping a secret, not just from the outside world, but from each other, and secrets can be dangerous. Ooh. So domestic thriller mixed with like locked door, mixed with like creepy secrets. We love it. Next, we have Did I Say You Could Go by Melanie Gideon. This cover, I don't know if you can see it, but it's textured with the rain. And that's gorgeous. I freaking love that. I am so excited by this one. Promise we'll be best friends forever. Oh gosh. Two best friends. One best friend is like, oh, you crazy. We're not gonna be best friends anymore. But then still that scandal follows them throughout their life. A relentless page turner filled with hair-raising twists, Did I Say You Could Go is a deliciously wicked read. So we'll see how good that one is. Next we have a cover by, to be honest, Horrid by Katrina Lino. I've seen quite a few people talk about this, or it's on the shelves behind them while they're talking about other books, so I don't know if they actually liked it or not, or if they read it or not, but it's on a lot of people's shelves, and I can't really blame them with this cover. Following her father's death, Jane North Robinson and her mom, Ruth Ellen, moved from sunny California to the dreary, dilapidated old house in Maine where Ruth grew up. Ooh, gothic house. Then Jane discovers that the storage room Ruth has kept locked isn't for storage at all. It's a little girl's bedroom, left untouched for years and not quite as empty of inhabitants as it appears. So is it a person locked in this house? Is it ghosts? Is it the secrets of their past? Stuff like that. I love it. Gothic, horror, we'll see. Next we have The Patient by Jane Shemilt. Tell me these books don't look like they're written by the same person. The font, the style of cover, it's just maybe the same cover artist. I don't know how to know that, but I just think it's great. I actually have one of Jane's books, first name basis, one of Jane's books on my library TBR. It's called The Playground. That was the only one that my library had. A shocking and twisty novel about a boundary-breaking love affair by the Edgar-nominated #1 internationally best-selling author of The Daughter. Ooh. Luke is a French painter who's just bought a historic home on the edge of their posh neighborhood. He's struggling with a mental disorder, and so he goes to the nearest clinic to Rachel. They get attracted to each other, scandal ensues, estranged daughters, consequences no one could have ever predicted. Ugh. Next we have Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding. We have another one. So I loved this cover as well. And also, you know me, I love a pocketbook. They're just my favorite. I don't know why. Kate is everything Frances is not. Beautiful, wealthy, powerful, and confident. And she isn't interested in being best friends with any of the other Forrester moms, only with Frances. As the two women forge a close bond, a startling secret threatens to tear them apart because one of these women is not who she seems. Her real name is Amber Kunick, and she's a murderer. Ooh! So kind of domestic thriller in the sense of like, the way that, well, I guess that would be horror. Like Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires is kind of domestic in that sense of like house moms fighting evil. Next we have The Book Eaters. And I have been looking for this book forever. And so I was so excited to see it on this sale. But this is a kind of dystopian magical realism book about this change in appetites of humans to where they eat books, or the more dangerous subset is where they eat human minds. So like your consciousness and whatnot. So the mother is a book eater, the son is a mind eater, and she has to protect him and kind of go against her own ethics, what is right, what is wrong, in the sense of like keeping him alive versus him victimizing other people. Interesting. Next we have House of Hunger. I also have Dowry of Blood on my Kindle, and I'm interested to kind of juxtapose the two and see which one is the better like Bride of Dracula book. This is much smaller than I anticipated. A lot of these books are smaller than I anticipated. But this is more about a countess instead of like a count. So it's very sapphic, I believe. Loved and feared in equal measure. She takes a special interest in Marion. Lisavette is magnetic, the countess, is magnetic, and Marion is eager to please her new mistress. But when she discovers the ancient walls of the House of Hunger hide an even older secret, Marion is thrust into a vicious game of cat and mouse. Soon she'll need to learn the rules of her new home, and fast, or its halls will soon become her grave. Interesting, interesting. Next was a cover by House of Hollow. I believe it's a YA horror, but I love like a, I don't know what you would call this, like an organic horror? Something to do with like the woods and nature like taking over. I don't know if that's actually how it is, but that's how it looks on the cover. And she's beautiful. Where did Grey Hollow go? Iris Hollow and her two older sisters are unquestionably strange. As children, they disappeared on the Scottish city street only to return a month later with no memory of where they'd been or what happened to them. Now they're trying to reintegrate into society. As they brush against the supernatural, Iris quickly realizes that the story she's been told about their past is unraveling, and the world that returned them seemingly unharmed 10 years ago might just be calling them back again. Next we have This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. I have read I Just Haven't Met You Yet by Sophie Cousins. I listened to the audiobook. I really liked it. It's a cute rom-com. Their lives began together, but their worlds couldn't be more different. After years of missed connections, they're about to meet again. I think it's about New Year's. Her New Year's birthday is unlucky, and that it's all because of Quinn Hamilton, a man she's never met. Their mothers gave birth to them at the same hospital just after midnight on New Year's Day, but Quinn was given the cash prize for being the first baby born in London in 1990, and the name Minnie was supposed to have as well. With luck like that, it's no wonder each of their birthdays has been more of a disaster than the one before. And then they run into each other, and then might they fall in love, question mark? But I do like about Sophie Cousins is that she has a little bit more of a lit fic intent with her romance from what I've read. Just like an Emily Henry or like a Beth O'Leary. It's not just like, ooh, you're hot, I'm hot, let's get together. It's like, let's become better people throughout this relationship and then give that best version of ourselves to each other. Maybe it's idealistic of me, but that's what I see out of it. And then the last two we have are little bitty boys. We have Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. This is an Argentinian author, I believe. Originally Buenos Aires, but lives in Berlin. I said this in my last book haul because I got her other book, Little Eyes. But this one is a much smaller book. It's supposed to be just as weird as a Fever Dream. Lastly, we have Starve Acre by Andrew Michael Hurley. Another cover by, look at this thing. Apparently, soon to be a major motion picture. Why you had to put that sticker on there, I'll never freaking know. In all the digging he'd done, Richard had never once turned up a single worm or spider, only bones. The worst thing possible has happened. Richard and Juliet Willoughby's son, Ewan, has died suddenly at the age of 5. Starve Acre, their house by the moors, was to be full of life, but is now a haunted place. Convinced Ewan still lives there in some form, Juliet seeks the help of the Beacons, a seemingly benevolent group of occultists. Richard, to try to keep the boy out of his mind, has turned his attention to the field opposite the house, where he patiently digs the barren dirt in search of a legendary oak tree. But as they delve further into their grief, both uncover more than they set out to. Starve Acre is a devastatingly new novel by the author of the prize-winning bestseller The Lonely. It is a story about the way in which grief splits the world in two, and how searching for hope we can easily unearth horror. But yeah, so that is it for this book haul. This year, 2024, I believe that this is gonna be my last big unhaul. I might buy a couple of books here and there from the used bookstore, but this was a lot of my Christmas money that I had this year from my grandmother, so I am officially done with large book hauls. This year I really want to focus more on using the library. There's the next county over that's a lot bigger than the one that I live in, so I'm gonna go get an out-of-county resident card, I believe, to be able to access their vast set of libraries, to be accessing their digital, like Libby side of things as well. So I'm going to really try to not spend as much money wastefully on books this year. But that is it for this Christmas, after Christmas, wintertime haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books down below. Let me know if there's anything I should keep an eye out for at the library or at my local bookstore. And like the video if you like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you all next time. Be safe, support your local library, and happy reading.